Hi, my name is Aaron. I'm one of the crazy guys who tried to port Battle for Westeros to the Godot engine. And in this video I want to just briefly show you how I made this tilable fog shader in the Godot engine using the new noise textures. And for that we'll just quickly go into a almost new project. And there we go. It's just containing a few things that we will need, like a black tile, a grass tile, and a camera, which we can move with the arrow keys. And that's it. Well, and the game scene, but that one is empty. So first off, we will add our terrain, which is a tile map. Call it terrain. Then we will add our new tile set and add the two tiles we have here. New tile, make sure the grid is activated. Just select our tile here. That's the black one. And new single tile. That's the green one. And with that, we have our two tiles here. Now just quickly duplicate this one, call it cover, and in our terrain we can just, with holding Control and Shift, just drag some grass here. Same with the black tile and cover, and then I'll just do some holes in here so we can actually see. So everywhere where we have black tiles now, there should be fog, and where the tiles are not black, there should be no fog. Alright, so next thing is we will add a new material to our cover tile map. Adding new shader. There we go. And this is going to be a shader canvas item, and we will use a fragment shader. Fragment. So the first thing, I'll just minimize this a little. The first thing is we will need a noise texture for our fog. So what we're going to do is a uniform sampler 2D, which is a texture. Call it noise texture. With a hint albedo. And we will just get our noise from our noise texture, and we'll use the screen UV. And then set our color to our noise. So right now this is just plain white because we haven't set our noise texture yet. But if we go here to our shader parameters and add a new noise texture, the width and height can stay the same. We're going to make it seamless. And we add a new simplex noise texture. And there we have our noise. Wonderful. Maybe just tweak it a little, like 5 octaves, and maybe here 3. I found that to be looking good. So next up is we want to have these black spots here, not black but transparent. And for that I'll create a new vec4, which I will just call final, since we will have multiple layers and there's some other things that come in there. So for now, this final is just our noise, and then of course we have to set our color to final, like that. And we're going to make an if statement here. If our alpha channel of final, which is final.a, is bigger than 0, then we will set our final.alpha to in this case, we'll just use a color. Since RGB are all the same in grayscale, we'll just use final.r, and this gives us transparency. Wonderful. So next thing is we want to have it move a little. So for that, I will just create a vec2 coord for coordinates. This will just be screen UV for now. A semicolon. And I'll do here chords. And we'll just add time and see what happens. Well, that's fast, so let's just multiply it by 0.012, which I found to be nice. Yeah, that's looking good. And the next thing is we will add a second layer to it. So we will call this noise 1, and do a second noise. That was Control B, by the way. With Control B, you can just multiply your line. We get our noise texture, we get our coordinates, but instead of adding time, we will just subtract it, like that. So now we get an error because we have the noise here. But what we want to do now is mix noise 1 and 2 somehow together. So I'll do just that. I'll call mix, say noise 1 and noise 2, and mix them half and half. And this gives us a nice floating fog. Wonderful. So this is not really intense, it's kind of almost not visible, so what we can do is just make us another float, which is a uniform float, and we call it intensity. And we'll do from 0.1 to 2.0. And this way we now have another shader parameter, intensity, and 1 would be just as it is now, and we want it a bit stronger, so we will just do 1.4. And to add this, we will have to multiply our red value with our intensity. Now that's looking better. No, that's actually looking quite good already. What we can do now is, as you can see, sometimes these patterns line up together from the two noise textures we are mixing because the base is the same. So we can prevent this from happening by just taking our coordinate and make a new vector out of that, a vector 2, and just change the x and y coordinates like that. Now x and y is switched, so it doesn't line up at any point, which I think looks better. Some might not notice it, but I think it's better that way. And last but not least, if we run this thing and move our camera around, which we cannot do because we haven't added yet. So we go to our root scene here and add our movable camera, which I already had included in this project. Save it and run. So now if I move the camera, we can see the world moves, but the fog just sticks with the camera. And to prevent that, we will have to add an offset to the coordinates of our noise texture, which we will do by adding another uniform variable, which is a vec2 with x and y. It's just a coordinate. Call it offset, and that's it. And well, we of course have to add it to our chords, so we'll just add offset here. And now we can set this offset via GDScript, via code, which we will have to do. So we add a new script. We get our cover, ready var cover, and typing and speaking. It's not easy. That's the wrong sign. And our onReady var camera, which is our movable camera. And now our process function, we will make us another offset variable and set this to our the global position of our camera. And now we can set our shader parameter, which is in the covers material. So we go cover dot material dot, and then we have a function called set shader param, and we call it by a string name, which is offset, and then our value, which is the offset we have in here, this one. And if we save and run this, we have kind of a weird behavior here. So this is not how it should be. We can solve this by, actually, if you know why that is, then please let me know in the comments, because I don't know exactly why, but I've figured that we can solve this by just dividing our global position by getViewport.size. And if you run this now, it's all good on the x-axis, but on the y-axis it's inverted. So that we can solve by just make us a new vector 2 and just type in -y and offset x, and this gives us a nice moving fog that sticks to our terrain. Since we added it to our cover tile map, if we just go in here and paint our black tiles, you can see you can just remove fog, add fog, and if you use code for that, you can perfectly remove just the tiles that are reachable for a specific unit or whatever you want. So that's a great base for strategy games. That's it. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.